Welcome back. We left off last time with Colonel Hall addressing the crowd at the dedication ceremony as to what he and the trustees did to face the problem of building a new building for the Institute. This is what he said. When we assumed charge of the fund, to locate and house it was a problem for serious consideration. On account of the high cost of materials and labor, building nowadays is a very expensive proposition. And to erect a structure from the ground up, fitted to the uses of such an institution as Mrs. Woodman contemplated, would have required by far the larger portion of her benefaction, leaving us practically no means for its maintenance. This situation gave us pause. Just at this time, however, circumstances helped us to what we think a fortunate solution of our doubts. The practical extinction of two old families here had thrown into the market these two old but stately houses, quasi-colonial in design, in the most eligible part of the town. We therefore chose to locate here and to remodel the Hale and Christie houses and adapt them to our use as best we may. So now we know how the Hale and Christie or Woodman houses were acquired, but what of the William Garrison house? That story comes from another coincidence whereby Mrs. Ellen Rounds of Dover offered to give the collection as well as the 1675 Garrison house over to Daniel Hall. Here's what Daniel Hall had to say about it. When we addressed ourselves to the practical business of establishing this institute, we found a most valuable and desirable nucleus for it in a Garrison house of the old time, the last survivor of its race, which had been built 240 years and by the provident forecast of a lady who appreciated its values, had been taken in hand a few years ago and preserved as a monument of antiquity. She at once cordially entered into our plans for its further preservation. She placed it at our disposal and cooperated with us from the start in the renewal of this old landmark. And without marring it in any way, we caused it to be removed a distance of more than 3 miles and placed on this site where it is a part of our premises here and safeguarded under a shelter, which will preserve it for centuries, more as a priceless souvenir of the colonial period, showing how our ancestors lived and defended their lives, and how they planted and watered and nurtured the tree of our great nationality till it grew to its present stature and proportions. This old house is intact, fairly sound, and perfect, only as affected by age and the storms of the centuries it has weathered, and it is full of precious mementos of olden times, to which we invite your attention today and shall invite the inspection and study of everybody in the future. Through the generosity of Annie Woodman and Mrs. Ellen Rounds, the campus had come together, and Colonel Hall had the following to say to conclude his speech. If I may speak for a moment of my individual part in what has been here done, I am conscious that I am not likely to see the fruition of Mrs. Woodman's benevolent purposes. But my associates in the trust are still young and vigorous, and we all hope will love and cherish this institution and preside over and promote its development, and not only care for it in person for many years, but will set it on its way to become what Mrs. Woodman fondly hoped and dreamed it would be, a blessing and uplift to this community, and make this old and time-honored city a city set on a hill for a beacon of light and illumination for the future generations to which, in all hope and faith, we give it over this day. Colonel Hall died less than 4 years after the dedication ceremony, and he left behind in trust to the Woodman the last saddle ridden by Abraham Lincoln. This saddle was used for a formal military review in Virginia in March of 1865 and was acquired by Colonel Hall in person and brought back here to Dover. Thanks for watching. To support the Woodman Museum, please consider making a tax-deductible donation. You can mail checks to P.O. Box 1916, Dover, New Hampshire, 03821, or visit our website, woodmanmuseum.org.